Guys, this is Stu, rather croaky Stu unfortunately because I've had a bit of a nasty chest cold, but I'm getting over it now. This is just basically a video in response to Clint the Mad Modeller's question of what are your 5 favourite builds, or what are your 5 builds that you've got on a wish list. Well, I've got 2 built, 2 from my wish list in, and 1 on the way. The first one basically was the Chieftain, the Tamiya Mark V Chieftain, which I built here in the Starring Syndicate's Community Tank Group build last year with Gil from Red Dragon Models. Yeah, it's one of my favourite builds, chiefly because the way she turned out in the end, and it was a superb looking kit. And I have to say I thank my brother Neil for getting it for me as a birthday present last year, Neil, so thanks bro. And as you can see, she came out beautifully, and I was very impressed with the camo scheme, etc. I learnt a lot from this, and I had a few handy tips from Mike Cohen as well, so thanks Mike. And yeah, loved it, loved every minute of the build, and I was very pleased with the tail end result of it. My second favourite build is the Walker Bulldog, which I did off my own back. I didn't do it as a group build or anything. It was my first attempt at using aftermarket tracks, and my first attempt at doing a little bit of sort of weathering, as it were, off my own head. And yeah, she just basically fell together in a matter of weeks, and it was also my first attempt at doing a little bit of chipping, which you can see on the back baffler here. So I was very pleased with that, and as you can see I did a few sort of dust effects with a slight sprinkling of dark earth, which you can see on the end here. Okay, so that was that really, but yeah, super little kit. And I might well get the AFV version of the Duster, which I think was a later development of the Walker Bulldog. Anyway, one of the ones I had on my wish list, which I managed to get off eBay this year, was the Sherman 3 Desert version early production, which was used out in Italy just prior to the North African campaign. And the principal reason I love this, I mean, if you look back on one of my videos, I did an inbox review on her, and the level of detail and everything looks super. So I'm really looking to get my teeth into this one. And not only that, because it was used in the British Army as well, and I just like the colour scheme on it, I really do. So that's really one of the reasons I've got that, Clint. And then we've got this big beauty, which is the old 1/48th Airfix TSR2 Eagle, or Eagle as it would have been known had it gone into service. It's one of the saddest stories in the British aircraft industry. It was an aircraft way ahead of its time. But because of political reasons and the running of over costs and everything, it was sadly cancelled by a Labour government, I may add. As I say, it was a fantastic looking aircraft, way ahead of its time. It would have been a world beater had it gone into production. I know Canada had it on order, Germany, I think possibly France, Spain, and a few other countries, but sadly it never got beyond the first flying prototype, and in 1965 it was sadly cancelled. So yeah, as I say, it would have been a world beater, and funnily enough it was going to be the pre-production sample, had it gone through, was going to be flying out of Wisley Aerodrome, which coincidentally is only up the road from the Brooklyn Museum. So if you're curious, look it out on Google at the history of Wisley Aerodrome. I've actually got a pamphlet which is written by a guy on the actual airfield, which I've got here. It's one I've really been after for a long time. It's written by a guy called Stephen Skinner. It's only in a sort of pamphlet form, but as you can see they've got some lovely photographs in here. There's the old camera going over the runway, and there's a nice one of the old Valiant, which funnily enough was the only one that was resparred, and flew on until 1968 over Wisley Aerodrome. So yeah, As I say, if you want to check it out, by all means do so. And I think you can actually get this book possibly on Amazon. I know I got it from there, but check it out. It's written by Stephen Skinner. It's called Wesley, the Story of Vickers Own Airfield. Anyway, enough of that waffle. Getting back to what I was saying. Yeah, as I say, this is a big aircraft. If anybody's been to see the ones at Duxford and Cosford, you'll soon know. It is a beast. But all the same, a beautiful looking aircraft. Coincidentally, apparently in 1981, Maggie was actually thinking of resurrecting the programme. But sadly, it was going to work out too costly, which is a shame, because if this had gone into production again, by God, that would have been a pack-a-punch, I can tell you. Well, I'll give you a prime example. Basically, when it went supersonic the one and only time on one engine, it left a Lightning fighter basically struggling to keep up with it. So yeah, as I say, check it out. Check out the history. There is a video on it on YouTube as well. Yeah, it's a bit of a sad story about a very iconic aircraft. Anyway, the last thing I've actually got on my wish list, which unfortunately is on its way but not here yet, is the new Dragon Whitman Tiger, which is based around about the early part of 1944 when Michael Whitman got his I think Knight's Cross with oak leaves. So yeah, it's highly sought after, and I was very lucky to get hold of one. It was quite expensive, but I thought, well, I've got to have a Whitman Tiger in my collection. So that's 5 of them. But Clint, I know you said 5. There is another I would love to get hold of. Is the Dragon Tiger 6253, which I think Sebastian Stuyve, the Dutch modeller, basically did an inbox review on. It is very rare. Sebastian was very lucky to get it at the price he did. But one of the versions you can actually do it in is Whitman's last Tiger 007, which I would love to get hold of. It's got a metal barrel, loads of etched brass, and yeah, I mean, the cheapest price I've actually seen it sell for is about £99. So yeah, I know that's the 6th one, but that's one that I really would love to get my hands on. Anyway, I hope that answers your question, Clint, and everybody else. So until then, happy modelling, get kit crazy, and I'll see you on my next video.